So the hay's in the barn, there's nothing really we can do. It is a workout day. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I think I'm just gonna do light threshold, maybe 5 by K, 5 by 4 minutes, something like that. So 20 minutes of work plus some 400s fast. Get the legs turning. There's nothing I can do now that's gonna get me more fit for Monday. I think what I do now can keep me sharp, right? It can keep the legs kind of moving, but there's no fitness gains here. So I just need to be careful. The biggest risk this week is doing too much and making myself feel flat or not ready for Monday. Let's get this done, all right? Yep, going with the old ass pink alphas. Get the legs a little break today.
All right, 4 down, felt pretty good. Felt better towards the end, honestly, which is good. Kind of warmed into it. 536 for 3 of them, and then 540 for the first one. So heart rate stayed in the 170s. So definitely threshold effort, which is good. And now we're gonna bang out 400s at 5-minute pace because that's all it goes. Honestly, I would do less distance at a faster pace if I could, but I don't want to do hills. So that's one way to make it faster. If I max out at 5-minute pace on the treadmill, I could do some hill, but that kind of zaps the legs. So we're just gonna do 3 or 4 400s and call it, and then taper all the way to Monday. And we'll just do that a few more times. Getting antsy, getting ready to race. Those felt okay. Legs are still a little zapped, I think, from 10 by K last week. And then I did that long threshold on Sunday, or that long progression on Sunday. The tempos felt good, those 400s. Like I said, legs didn't feel super springy, but it's after some reps and after a tough week. Toasty out here today. Legs feel all right though. We're going like 720 pace, 140 heart rate. A little better than yesterday, I guess. So should be feeling great tomorrow. Just getting it done. Easy work. All right, let's get some strides in and be done. Jog home. .340 pace. So fast. Just got to figure out how to do that for what, 16 times that? We're on a 340 mile. Easy. All right, last one. That's it. That's the last kind of run of the cycle, and then we'll hop into the Boulder tomorrow. I think the #1 thing is just to go out there and have some fun. This is not that serious. I'm old. This whole copying series has just been really a ton of fun, a great way to mix up training. I do feel really fit, not like making excuses or anything, but I don't want to put so much pressure on this race because really the work is done. The results is already there. It's up to me to just like pay attention and race smart and go get that result. The work is done. I've done a lot of good work, and so let's go get the result that I deserve. Racing tomorrow, Boulder, best event, best 10K in the world. It's gonna be a blast. Let's go.
You might want to go. I'm not gonna stop.
I have got to figure out my stomach. Just puked up all my breakfast. I don't know if it's like the hydration I'm doing or coffee or what it is, but empty stomach now. So let's do the thing. Warm up's done. I'm gonna go drop my bag, and then we'll see you on the other side. Let's go. All right, we're at the start line here. Kind of nervy energy. Gun goes off. I've got a bunch of Boulder Track Club folks right here with me, which is great. I kind of know, I started in the back a little bit, just knowing that, hey, I'm gonna weave through and catch up to some folks. A lot of people in this race that I know, so I kind of know who I need to go with. I'm not really looking at the watch here. First big turn, still kind of chaos. At this point, I know I'm going probably a little bit slow, so I'm weaving through here, probably going 520, 525 pace. So getting out, we're, probably half a mile here. That's Dan right there in front of me in the Boulder TC jersey. He's pretty quick. So we hit a mile there. Feeling good still. Maybe a little slow, but I'm okay with that. We're probably at like 535 pace, somewhere in there, but I know it's uphill in the beginning and we'll definitely get some back.
Alec there to my left in the collared shirt, raced with him in CIM. So we hit 2 miles here. I think I'm still doing okay. I'm like 5:30, mid 5:30s pace. So not as fast as I wanted. I knew it probably wasn't going to be a fast day, but I still felt pretty strong, like I had a lot left. Coming up on mile 3 here, I'm actually starting to hurt already. There's a lot of weaving uphill. I just didn't do a good enough job sort of settling and getting comfortable. I'm like, my eyes are darting all over the place. I'm kind of bouncing around. And here we've got mile 4, biggest hill of the course, and I've given up essentially, which is sad. I usually am a pretty tough racer, but at this point I am kind of checked out. I'm starting to hurt, and you know, I just get to the top of this hill and I say, all right, let's just collect myself. I can still hit the C goal, which is just to PR on this course. So that's the goal here. I'm cruising the downhill, just trying to gather myself and make sure that I've got enough left to sort of maintain where I'm at, which again, my watch is showing me 5:35, 5:36 pace, somewhere in there. So I know I'm going to be good. I needed to run 5:38, so I felt like, all right, I'm fine here. And so I'm not running aggressive at all right now. I'm hurting, but it's like tempo hurt. And you know, I was not really aggressive. I let the foot off the gas and I never re-engaged when I got to the top of that hill. And then I get to the finish line here and I ended up having quite a bit left. I passed a bunch of guys. The footage ran out here, but I passed a bunch of guys coming into the stadium, which at that point it doesn't matter because I ended up running really slow. So finished the race and I feel not great, but not terrible, because in my head I'm like, well, at least I beat my PR. Turns out I didn't, because the gap between my watch and the official time was so much. So again, I think Strava had me at like 5:36 pace and official time had me at 5:42 pace. So initially after the race, I'm like, it wasn't good, but it was fine for not having a good day and being able to run, 5:36 pace, like at a hard type of race, fine. And then when I look at the results, that's when I was really disappointed, because I had been training pretty hard. I'd done that 10 by 1K at faster than 5:20 pace. I 2 months ago ran Carlsbad at 15:53 pace. So, and I had gotten some good training in after that. So I was a little shocked at just how slow that was and how hard the effort felt. No excuses. I did puke though right before the race, and I just wonder, if something was going on with my stomach. Just energy was really low. I didn't feel super fresh and poppy, but I think it was just a combination of it just being a bad day for me. I hadn't raced in a while. I've said this before, like racing is a skill, especially 10K. I can't tell you the last time I ran a 10K. And I just disengaged. So I think that was part of it. Something else worth looking at is just this Copying Jakob piece. Did it work? I think it did work for me coming off of a marathon block. It worked for the faster stuff. So being able to incorporating the hills at the beginning of the cycle, and then doing some of the double threshold stuff, especially the stuff that's at a faster pace. So that afternoon session where you're running 5K pace, but because the work bouts are so short, it's still threshold. I think that stuff helped me a lot. So being able to touch faster speeds helped that 5K effort. And I think if I raced more 5Ks, I could probably even get that Carlsbad time down more. I think I struggled with the 10K distance, and I bet I would struggle with like a 10-mile half marathon distance right now. So I don't know that I think it translated really nicely for the shorter stuff. I'm not sure about the long stuff. I think where I also struggled was periodization. Jakob Ingebrigtsen's base is very clear. It's no no secret what he's doing during base. I think where I struggled was how do we sharpen for a race? I think I had a good strategy going into Carlsbad where I just basically took a sharp taper for like a week. After Carlsbad, I was in this no man's land where it's like, do I go back into double threshold base? Do I kind of continue a sharpening phase, which ended up being pretty long? And I really didn't commit to either. I was doing kind of some double threshold with specific or more like specific type of workouts. And I think I just felt rudderless. I didn't really have a good plan. Every workout was kind of day of. And that was the hardest part of this challenge, is just like understanding how to properly build the race workout schedule. I think that hurt me. Overall though, I think it was a ton of fun. I think it was successful. I'm feeling really good going into my next cycle here. So, you know, I'm targeting that 2:30 marathon again. I am signed up for CIM. CIM's still a long ways out. That's in December. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do before that, because that would just be a super long cycle. So I got to pick some races before that. Big announcement in the next episode of who we're going to copy. I'm going to have a coach, which is really exciting. You know, very disappointing, anticlimactic ending. Fortunately, it's just 10K. If I wanted to race again in a couple weeks, I could do that. I could keep trying. So I've still got a lot of fitness. I'm not going to take a ton of time off, but I am going to reset for the next week or so and then jump back in and talk to my coach and figure out what's next. Thank you guys for following along. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it. There's going to be a lot more content. I did get to meet Allie and the athlete special Spencer Brown, and they were super generous with their time, super nice. He offered to share some of his training, and we're gonna find something good to copy in this sort of down period here. So that's gonna be really fun too. You know, super fun. I'm still enjoying it. None of this matters. I still think YouTube is pretty dumb, but it's keeping me engaged. We're gonna keep it rolling. But so thank you for following along, and onward and up.
Kind of like sideways.
Do you want to go another block, or do you want to pop up here?
Let's go another block.
Okay.
Actually, let's pop up here.
You want to pop up here?